was like, yeah, she makes meme references too, so like she's Gen Z. I hate I don't know the in-betweeners of millennials and Gen Zs. Where do we belong? We don't know. Both of our sides hate each other.
Eh,
Damn.
tayo hindi mo nobody wants. Parang pinagpapasa-pasahan tayo. Hindi, Gen Z ka, hindi. Ano, parang they coined the term for people born between 90
96,
something, 96,
96
yeah, to
to 99
too
yata.
early to, ganun talaga ba?
Or
Basta something like
2000,
that.
yeah. What the fuck? We're the
Pero
best
like,
ones of all.
whatever.
We're literally the generation who would rather not fight with either of them because we
Ah,
all like ganun. So like, yeah, sure, don't accept us. We don't care about you as well. At least hindi kami yung binabash ng other generations. Because we know, like, they're making references like Gen Zers would never know this anime. I was like, bitch, we watched Sakuragi then. What the fuck are you talking about?
oh, yung mga ganun na like we get lumped in like, do you still know what a cassette tape is? Like,
Bitch,
putang
of
ina.
course I do.
Like,
Napagalitan ako
we're
dati.
we're we're not in the US or somewhere like, we're a third
Yeah,
world country.
of course we do.
Like,
I liked playing with that shit with a pencil. Hihilahin tapos aayusin. Hihilahin
yeah, yeah.
tapos aayusin.
You are listening to Stabbing Caesar. This is episode 2. You'll never forget your first.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Stabbing Caesar. We're now at episode 2. Years. You never forget your first.
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
oh my god.
It's okay. We're gonna keep this. I don't care. It's so good.
Jesus fucking
I
Christ.
just can't. It's just so. I'm never gonna repeat that.
That part is like, okay, it's made it in there.
Yeah, yeah,
Never
it's
rewind it.
fine.
I'm Himawari and I have with me our co-host, Red.
Red
Say hello.
Sea.
Yeah. The Red Sea.
Red Sea.
And today we'll be talking about our first fandom. So, Red.
Yes. I was drinking water, but yes. Okay. What?
What was your first fandom?
Oh shit. Well, wait. I have to think. I think it's Lord of the Rings. Wait.
Lord of the Rings.
I remember
Well,
I don't know what is fandom level. I have to. We have to be specific about this. When do
um,
you become part of a fandom?
okay, fandom. Let's see.
Are you
I
looking at
guess
me?
when I'm not looking it up.
Okay.
I'm just thinking. I guess you become part of a fandom once you start investing in it outside of like just watching. Kasi like if we're gonna talk about first fandoms, I think most of us and we just say like anything that we've ever watched as
Yeah.
I think we're all just gonna say that
Slam
it's
Dunk.
Disney or
Hot
Pixar.
Shot. I was a fan of Hot Shot. Slam Dunk.
Hush.
Meteor Garden.
Meteor Card. That came later though. That came
Flowers.
later.
Okay.
Like, I definitely was a fan of Meteor Garden.
Hey, I invested in all of those actually.
Yeah, like emotional investment outside of just watching
But I bought like fan things. Like I bought
merch.
wallpapers and fans, notebooks. I was that bitch who used fandom notebooks in school so that they know which one is mine immediately. And that I was a fan of Gumjandi.
Ano ba? What do you call it? Yung Korean version ba yung napanood mo or was it a...
Both. I watched both.
both?
There's also that one, ano yun? Hanakimi.
Sana be something else.
Hanakimi is the Korean. I think it's the Korean one or the other. What was the other one? Was that I don't know. But where the girl pretends to be a guy in school
Mm.
because I forgot the reasons. Pero there was one version that was better because the actress for the main character was so
Mm.
great and she was so boyish and actually looked like a boy so that it would make sense why people would think that yeah he's a boy.
The boy, yeah.
Like the Korean one was the girl was pretty so like fuck this
Is this the one with Park Shin-ye, that Korean one, or is that something else too?
that's different. Park Shin Ye was that the one where they were in a band or was
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yung
Oh,
idol sila.
yeah. I like that one too, especially the one where they were like almost drowning her in the pool.
Ah, no, not her boobs.
She had to do that. She had to retake that one so much. And I also like
Ah, talaga.
Honky there. Honky was a good actor there.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Pero shit, alala ko, si Yonghwa. Yonghwa was the best one there. I don't care about
Like, I them so much. I wanted them to be like, what's his name? The guy that she ended up with. I didn't like him because he was
uh,
a bit of an asshole. So parang, bakit siya?
what's his name? I wrote it down somewhere because I'm still writing a Korean fanfic. um, what's his name? Shit, si G yun eh. G, I think. And he like
um,
after that after that series, he disappeared without
yeah, yeah, yeah.
any explanation. I was like, oh my god.
Parang alam ko
Jang Kyun-suk.
nagkaroon siya
Jang
ng
Kyun-suk.
small series na featuring IU. Pero after that, hindi
Mm,
na nga siya naging mainstream.
yeah, Jang Kyun-suk, I think.
Jang Kyun-suk,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. And he was good. Lee Min-ho. Oh no, that's Min-ho. Jang Kyun-suk was like, he was an idol kasi who soloist, I think. I don't know his
Ah,
background.
really?
But he was a judge in the first episode of the first season, Produce 101. And
Oh.
that's why I wrote him down. My first fandom would you consider that being part of a fandom or is that not enough investment?
No, I feel like that's enough. Like, if you fangirled, I feel like
Hmm.
if you fangirl about it, then it is your fandom.
But now I'm disappointed because that's like but I feel like it's Naruto then. Like
Naruto.
Naruto was my first fandom where like I actually bought a lot of wallpapers, a lot of stickers, my notebooks
Mm.
were
So you
Naruto.
you were that invested in ano then in Lord of the Rings at first.
I got invested with Lord of the Rings because my dad taught me more about its history than actual Philippine history.
Lol.
And like he taught me
Parody.
how Middle Earth was created and how the I forgot the names now of the gods, but I used to
Yeah, yeah,
memorize them. And he questions why my Hekasi is so low, so low grade. But yeah, that I think that's also where I started reading fan fiction of Lord of the Rings before Harry Potter because I didn't know Harry Potter. I didn't know Harry Potter fan fiction was a thing. Yeah, I just looked up Legolas.
yeah. Oh my god, what have you been exposed to as a child?
A lot, like what do you call that? Warcraft porn,
may
Dota porn.
may smart ka ba nun about
Dude,
Legolas?
dude. Yes, and also
Yes.
like, kasi I don't like YouTube. I was like, when YouTube started, I was already a creature of YouTube. When Nigahiga was still like 144p.
Oh, okay.
Like I was in YouTube already. Then I forgot my password to my first ever account, but it's still circulating around.
It's
Because
somewhere.
like my password for that account was like a combination of my and my crush's name IRL. So like ew. So I just forgot it.
Did you repress that crush's name? Is that why you
Yeah,
forgot?
because yeah, there are some repressed memories that I like even now I'm stuttering already. I just disgusting. Yeah. So but YouTube didn't really have a fandom then. But I did watch a lot of like fan made videos of Naruto compilations, the best fights, that kind of thing. What else? I also watched like Kingdom Hearts. I was a fan of
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom
Ah,
Hearts is good. Especially Birth by Sleep. Roxas! Ah! Roxas!
yeah.
He was my favorite. He was
Such a
my
good
favorite.
boy. Why did he have to be?
Yeah, exactly. Why did he have to be the heartless one?
Yeah.
Why did he
Like,
have... What is Sora? What is...
like how good can you be?
Exactly.
How much of a good boy can you be?
He already was a good boy. And like I was too attached and I cried for that. I cried for him when he disappeared. And I didn't even play because we were poor. I played later. I played later, like after the hype's got
Mm.
done and gone. But like I cried for that because oh my god, no! All he wanted was to be whole. But then for him to be whole, he had to disappear. So that I hated it. I hated it so much. I bashed Sora so much because Ventus is like another sort of part of Sora. Why? Why does
Mm.
Sora have to get all the good things? You made us love these characters and then you make them go away so that the main character can live. What is this? I always
Yeah.
I guess I always had the side character syndrome. Where even now with Iwa-chan, always it's my favorite characters are always the one who aren't the main character. Even Naruto. Charot. But
Even Naruto.
Naruto is like someone who just wormed his way into my heart with his talking no jutsu. I just I like that boy. But most of the people I like from the get go are usually the ones who aren't the main character.
Yeah, the underdogs.
Yeah. Not even the underdogs, but more of like I don't know. I don't know why I fell in love with Iwa-chan, okay? I don't know the reasons. I just found him. And then I was like, I like this boy. I like this boy so much.
Needs more screen time. I feel like that's
Yeah,
justice. He needs
look at him.
more screen time.
Look at this perfection. He literally cried on screen, and that was like my
Yeah.
wallpaper for how many weeks on my desktop because oh my god. Oh my god. I love so, so yeah. I guess it was Naruto. Naruto was like my first ever fandom. What about yours?
For me, like, well, the first franchise I ever remember being introduced to was Star Wars. But that
Not
was more like against
surprised.
our will. Parang we were force fed the lore and everything. Like you have to watch this. Because every time we want to watch something, Star Wars, put on Star Wars. Like no, I want to watch something else. Like can't we binge watch like all of Lion King, like Star Wars?
I don't care
So
about
yeah,
this real people. I want cartoon.
that was
Animation is shit.
kami magkakapatid yung tipong ano tawag dito? Like, I guess if you've been born into a Christian family. What is this metaphor?
All the
If you've been born
time.
into a Christian family, even if you ever not believing in God,
Hmm.
parang, or like losing your Christian faith, quote unquote, you
Yeah.
tend to
You definitely
turn
believe
agnostic. You
in
tend
God.
to turn agnostic rather than full on atheist because like you've invested so much time
Mm.
believing that there was a
Yeah.
God. So in the same sense, like because we've invested so much time in for Star Wars, for Star Wars, whatever, like during our childhood,
Mm.
parang inantabayanan talaga namin yung like every release of the sequels, like
Hmm.
uh, like especially yung naging sobrang hype yung third episode na pinakita how Luke and Leia were born and that
Mm. I don't know Star Wars. Even now,
Anakin is the father. Ganyan.
I am a Star Trek boy.
Star Trek. Like one of these days, I'm planning to watch all of them, pero
Yeah.
for now,
I think, at
yeah.
least from personal experience, Star Trek is the one you get into when you're old. You're
Eh,
It's more of like I'm willing to watch this because I'm intrigued, rather than woo
yeah, yeah.
the movie's out.
The movies.
With the movies, it's more of like that's with us with Lord of the Rings. Like we watched all the movies, even with the Hobbit. We were one of
Mm.
those families who like even with the you can tell with the Hobbit like most of the people in line were like dads.
True, true.
But for us, we were the whole family and we watched all of it. Tapos si daddy yung like we were the ones who were arguing about like grabe pinatagal pa nila. Bakit three movies?
Three more, yeah.
So much talking
But
smoke. We could have just did but yeah, we were one of those. We were of those people who complained afterwards, especially with even with Twilight.
yeah.
Since I was the since I was the only one who read it, like the war in Breaking Dawn was such bullshit. I was like, where's the second wave? What the fuck? This is a war. Look at so few. What the fuck?
Sobrang anticlimactic nung, like, I know that's how it gets solved dun sa books
Mm,
because I read it too. I was also invested as a tween.
yeah. Yeah.
Pero parang ang anticlimactic ng pagkaka-portray nila dun sa war.
Mm.
Na parang may papasok lang na, wait, stop! That was everything was just Alice showing that Volturi guy, whatever his name was, that
It,
that was the future.
yeah. It's ano eh. I guess that's like we don't maybe it's personal preference, but that's the whole logic behind the Deus Ex Machina
Mm.
of like plot where there's that super overpowered thing or just what do you call that? There's that over superpowered. What do you call that? I
What,
forgot.
what do you call it?
There's
A character? Like,
it's not necessarily a character, but like a symbol, maybe a
mm,
symbol in like the plot of the movie or
a device?
it's basically a plot device. The Deus Ex Machina is a
Mm.
plot device so that everything works out in the end or something like that.
Ah, yeah,
Even if it's not working out in the end per se, but everything goes back to like normalcy. And that's Alice, pretty much Alice, because like it makes sense still that of course of course that would make sense because Alice's power is like that, so I don't really hate it, but I hate the fact that she used that as the plot device so that everything
yeah.
would.
Parang it, like, logically, it's not impossible, di ba?
Mm.
Parang wala lang, it just became underwhelming nung
Yeah,
yun yung gina.
because like even in the beginning, Arrow already saw Alice Alice's vision about the future, but still they did the war. But then it's so stupid.
It's so stupid. It's still just so stupid.
like like there's so many folks pass that
Mm.
Stephanie Mayer. Oh, I haven't said that name in a long time. Stephanie Mayer.
Anyway.
There's so many folks passes and like the baby having a cognitive thought inside Bella's stomach and talking to her father.
Yeah.
I,
That's how babies work.
and like how did how did Bella even get pregnant? Because you need sperm for a woman to get pregnant, and a sperm needs to be some temperature.
Oh, medyo faulty yung logic niya when it came to the world building and stuff, eh, 'di ba? Kasi parang sperms are cells too, so they need to
Mm,
be alive, or like they need to come from a living person as well.
mm. But technically, hey, are
I
you
don't
saying
know.
that the vampires aren't living? They're living their best life, Chad.
They're living but like, I don't think vampires can get women pregnant, can they?
What lore are you talking about? Because there's still
I
no
don't
actual scientific proof.
I don't know.
I guess it's just the whole Stephanie Meyer didn't get the audience or didn't wasn't Stephanie Meyer wasn't successful in having the audience be in a suspension of disbelief to
Mm-mm.
looking at or like looking at her world. She wasn't successful into dragging us into something that's more curious rather than critical. That's sad. That's bad. That's bad. That's bad writing then, because we would willingly believe that. It wouldn't make sense if she somehow made it work, and we were willing to believe that that was how things worked in her world, because it's her world. But still, why?
Yeah, yeah.
But still, like she wasn't successful in dragging us in. Basically, she was successful in the first two books because that was when people were like, "Oh my God, Team Jacob, Team."
Yeah.
But later on, the how she ended it, specifically the fifth book, the fifth,
The fourth
the
book.
fourth book was shit. It was like, if it was just a trilogy, that would have been fine. It would have been fine if it was a trilogy, because that's the war, and the fourth book was the pregnancy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So like,
Even the actors were so critical of
oh,
the whole
fun.
plot. No, like really, you just gave birth and you want to have sex right away,
Oh, Rob.
and that's all you want to do,
Oh,
have
oh.
sex. Like, how are you taking care of your baby? You're just gonna leave it to the guy who falls in love with your child the
No,
moment it came out of your vagina.
no, one of the best characters named Rosie was there to take care of the baby, okay?
Ay,
Like, my favorite characters out of all of them. I had a soft spot for Jacob Black, like, even the beginning.
mm.
I literally named the dog I murdered.
Oh my
The
god.
puppy I accidentally killed by letting him fall from a windowsill. uh, first level windowsill, okay, not like a falling from
A second story.
no, no.
Lil.
He panicked and he fell. And I named him Jacob for Jacob Black. Like, that was how affectionate I was with Jacob Black. But then I
Mm,
realized the best people there, like Emmett, Rosalie,
yeah, yeah,
Jasper, Mr. and Mrs. Cullen. Ergo, si Carlisle, pati si Esme. I'm a bit
yeah, yeah, yeah.
iffy with Alice because she's too perky for me. She's like, "Ah, I'm gonna
Yeah, it's like you've never gone through trauma despite
yeah,
being 1,000 years old.
yeah, and seeing like the future all the time,
Oh.
like beach. Pero like I think a lot of the fans wish that Stephanie Meyer focused more on on the side characters she made, like the pack,
Mm.
like the Quilet tribe. Like, I wish that would have been expanded more. It just came off as the Quilets as being hot-headed and being prejudiced against white people.
Yeah.
So like, what the fuck? Nah, that's not correct. It's the other way around most of the time, especially during those years. And it wasn't the whole Quillet thing. Well, I guess it wasn't really focused. It wasn't really highlighted. It's a tribe. It's like a Native American tribe, and
Yeah, yeah.
it had the lore. It had everything. Bill
Yeah.
Black was willing to step. They literally had a tradition where they go to the beach to start a campfire, and the eldest one there would tell stories about their like ancestors, and that's so good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, yun yung one of the parts, one of the writings that I really enjoyed.
Hmm.
Of how did it say? In the series. Na parang yung lore kasi nila, especially the way it was told, was so vivid na I could,
Hmm.
rather than read the words, I could picture it in my head.
Yeah. It,
Tapos parang
it's like she
sayang lang
was
na it was just that tiny
yeah.
bit in the
It's
story.
like she
Tapos
wasn't
hindi
the one
siya
to write it. It's like she wasn't the
oh
one to
right,
write it
diba?
because
It's
it's
so weird.
jarring. The way Billy spoke about the legends was so different from how she normally wrote the dialogue. It's
Mm.
either like there was a part where she was very invested in that whole lore building, and maybe that's what her specialty is, lore building. But
Mm.
the pressures of having it published and having it have to be 4 books within like a couple of years.
Tapos appeal to the public pa or
Yeah,
something like
yeah. Because I don't think it was that popular as a first book, eh. Like, as just books. I don't think
mm.
it was that popular. But then when it was made into a movie,
Oh, that dun lang siya naging
hmm.
sumikat
And I
as
think
ano.
that was a rush writing. she didn't have enough time to add in the flavors that she could have given. And basically, Twilight, the first book was was exposition from the characters and like some form of conflict with James and the Victoria, the nomad vampires. Other than that, it was just pure exposition. And more exposition in New Moon with like the Kulit tribe. A lot of exposition then.
I don't know. Twilight. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a weird phase for everybody.
I've never been ashamed to say, or I've never hidden the fact that I was like in the Twilight during its peak hours. It
Mm.
was purely Team Jacob because his muscles were hotter. And Robert Pattinson gave up when he saw Taylor Lautner's body during those first meetings for New Moon. He was just, yep, not gonna do it. He just gave
Not
up.
even bulk up.
I
Even
love
for
that.
Batman, he's like, nope, not gonna bulk up.
Yeah, I love that so much. He never did. It's weird. I always see like Rob Pat as like some sort of relatively fit dude, but would not exercise. Like the only reason he's like that, his figure is like that is because he's like his metabolism is great and he eats relatively okay, like relatively healthy food. But
Yeah.
he also binge eats like sometimes. He binge eats like chicken nuggets or something like that when he's feeling bad or like just eats a cup of ice cream when somebody references Twilight again to him.
Uh,
But
no one hates Twilight more than Rob Pat.
or its actors. I feel so sad kasi I feel like they had the actors there, the side
Mm,
actors specifically. They had a hard time getting a new gig as an actor.
yeah.
Well, except for like what's her name? Pitch Perfect.
Anna Kendrick.
Yeah, Anna Kendrick is like they are great, but the others not so much. And especially
I
Jasper was gorgeous. The actor
Yeah.
of Jasper
Like,
was
hindi
so
na ba siya
gorgeous.
lumabas ever at
I
all?
don't know. I hope he does. I'm not aware. Like
Oo nga eh.
now, because I'm much more knowledgeable, I'd rather have Jasper than any of y'all. Because when I'm depressed, he can force me to feel happy with his empath powers. And it's like he's the best boyfriend material there. Then Emmett, because Emmett is like a teddy bear.
We'll still fight for you.
Yeah, exactly. And then Colette Tribe as a whole because I want all of them. They're like pretty. They're very good boys. They're literally dogs.
Giant puppies.
Twilight. Twilight.
Twilight.
How did we end up at Twilight?
Parang naging Twilight session yung
Yeah, exactly. But that's not our first fandom. I guess
No, it's not my first fandom. Pero I think the
fandom
first
that was
the first actual fandom I had after Star Wars, going back to Star Wars,
yeah.
was Harry Potter. Ano ba nauna? Harry Potter ba nauna or Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings.
Kasi we watched all three of those on VCD.
Mm,
If you remember that as a thing.
yes, yung
Disc 1, Disc 2.
pupunta ka sa store, tapos manghihiram ka. And you just
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
submit
mga
your
ganun.
ID. Jesus, that's so great. If you can just do that now. I was part of a lot of fandoms, I guess. Prep yung mga slam dunk. That kind of. So,
Slap.
Naruto nga talaga. Kasi prep pa lang. Ay, hindi. A bit, I guess. Oo, prep pa lang, may Naruto yun na yata eh.
I don't remember.
Or grade 1. Mga ganun.
Parang mga ganyan, grade 1. I feel like, pero hindi kasi ako nag-prep, so I don't know.
Hindi ka nag-prep? What did you, like,
Wait,
grade 1 ka agad?
what is prep to you guys ba? Kasi sometimes nag-iba-iba yung...
My term for that is like kindergarten. That whole
Is that the third year of ano? Or is that the whole 3 year?
3 years yung term ko for prep.
Mm, nag-prep pala ako. If that's the case. Pero I just did 2 years of it rather than 3.
Mm.
Nag-skip ako from the second. Kasi, I don't know why. Because I could read and speak English okay. So they made me move up.
Mm.
Like, no, I still wanted to be in the cute classroom with all the nice colors and the toys.
Ganon din
With
naman
the
sa
nap time.
Ganon din naman sa kindergarten, I think. Na that nap time prep, walang ganyan sa Pilipinas, I don't think, unless it's private school.
Talaga ba?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
private school. Kami meron kaming nap time eh.
Mm.
Pero I think it wasn't like the full hour like they show in movies or whatnot. It's just 15 minutes ganyan. They just make us lie down, not really sleep. Just lie down so that we won't be hyperactive the whole day. Just to shut us up.
I remember prep lang namin, ganun lang. Parang junior kinder and senior kinder lang. We
Mm.
just studied. Philippine education system. Just shoving education to in our throats.
In our private school, we had time to ano eh. As part of it was like a class activity na we play.
Mm.
So like sometimes it would be physical, I don't know, musical chairs kind of thing. Sometimes it would be just playing with clay or
So
like they'd bring out a box of toys, a box of puzzles, ganyan.
this is why private school kids get killed first in the Holocaust.
Why?
Or
Because we don't have skills other than playing.
yeah. Maybe not a Holocaust or like in the end in an end of the world situation. Private school kids die first. Because you know who's gonna kill them? Public school
The public
kids.
school kids. We weren't allowed to handle scissors at that young age. So the only weapon we have is our pencils.
We even had glass rulers, metal rulers. We weren't restricted to the wood. We were allowed to use scissors, I guess. I think.
Mm.
I don't. Yeah, I think we did arts and crafts that had scissors. Yeah, I think it's just crayons and pencils sa amin din. But we had like metal rulers. We used, pag naglalaro kami ng afternoon, I remember that. Naghahabulan kami, tapos naghahampasan kami ng ruler.
Holy shit. Samantalang sa amin, after parang nagkaroon ng incident na there was this one kid who had a jumbo pencil. Like the thick ass.
Yeah, we had those too.
Tapos parang for some reason, nasugatan niya yung isa naming classmate sa forehead. Tapos
Yeah.
dumugo yung classmate namin na yon. So they banned all jumbo pencils. Bawal na daw. Parang yung thin number 2 pencils lang yung pwede. But then everyone wanted the jumbo pencils because they were much easier to hold and
Yeah.
they were colorful. They weren't
Yeah.
like all uniform yellow.
Yeah. Naruto. What part are you guys in?
Yung huli kong napanood na scene was Naruto meeting his mom and like crying. And then the mom explaining
Kuchino.
like why the Jinchuriki
Yes.
had.
Kushina.
Yeah.
I love Minato and Kushina so much. Like that's where Kushina's like one of the reasons why I always aspired to have red hair.
Mm.
She's one of the main reasons why that's my whole aesthetic. That's where I base all of my names online, that kind of thing. Kushina's like so good. The habanero.
The habanero. Red hot chili pepper.
Yeah. I like her so much, and I love Minato as well. Minato's like, I love him so much.
Yeah. Natangin na kanina. Like they were just smiling at each other being sweet. Tapos parang I felt like crying. No,
Diba? Kasi
this is too much.
it's so
I
sad
can't.
because even like as children, because like,
Yeah.
well, I guess it's okay for you because you're like an adult now. But we were, but because you watched it as an adult, but we were deprived of this shit. If Naruto had a normal upbringing, he would like this would be a normal thing. We wouldn't be kids who make noise. We wouldn't be adults who talk loudly because we ingrained that from Naruto. We'd be adults who'd have stable relationships because because Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze is like our idols because they're so cool.
Damn.
I love them.
Yeah.
I watched Naruto the whole time, even if like I hated it. Even when I hated
Yung mga dragging ones.
it, did I ever hate Naruto? I don't think I ever hated Naruto, really. I was influenced by public opinion because I'm easily influenced, as you know.
Yeah.
If I watch
Why?
something,
What
oh my
was
god,
public opinion back then?
public opinion was like Naruto's Shippuden's like later episodes are shit now
Mm.
because all of it is flashback and everything's like, oh,
Ah.
Sasuke's so overpowered against Naruto, and what the fuck, Naruto should get more powers, that kind of thing. And I was like, damn, damn.
Get more powers. He worked on it.
Exactly. Let the plot unravel. That's what the plot
Yeah.
is for. I feel like the audience of Naruto just got spoiled
Impatient.
with spoiled mostly with all the action that is
Mm.
always or must always happen with Naruto. But you have to like for a plot to make something for a plot to make sense,
Mm.
explanations have to be given. Like,
Yeah.
even if it was made in a flashback or multiple flashbacks in Naruto's case, explanations have to be given in some way. And now everyone loves it. Well, I guess I don't know actually. I don't see I don't see much more haters because people hate Boruto, or at least this older generations hate Boruto more than they hated Naruto. So like
Boruto's dad.
yeah, like I laugh at it now. Boruto's dad. I watched Boruto's dad, you know. He's like I loved him so much. This idol, Boruto's dad, who's always busy because he's the Hokage. Like, how spoiled could Boruto be? Jesus fucking Christ. Like, oh my god, you're going against your dad just because your dad didn't have enough time for you? What?
Ganun ba yung ano niya?
Yes,
Tech niya?
that's his thing. It's like what the fuck.
He didn't even have a dad.
Diba?
You know?
Like recently,
Fucking
suddenly, like, cause there's this new villain. I think that's when I like spazzed to you. Naruto's dead, something like that. Naruto's been abducted, captured
uh,
by the villain, and it's only after that Boruto was introduced to the young Naruto, because there's a jutsu, and he went back in time, so he met young Naruto with Jiraiya. And like
mhm.
young Naruto was treating him well and let him sleep in his small shitty apartment because he I was like, bitch, this better be good. Naruto better not die. It's just, I hate it.
After showing us all the
Diba? Like,
making us flashback as well
are you
to young
trying to
Naruto.
make I think that the reason why they made Naruto like disappear or something like headline catching something like that is because they wanted to bring in the old people who loves Naruto but hated
Mm.
Boruto. Like they wanted them to start watching again just so that they know what's going to happen to Naruto, that kind of thing. But I think it didn't work well because I still don't watch Boruto. I don't even consider it canon anymore. I was like, what the fuck is this? What are these names? Bolt and Solid.
Bolton's
Whatever you do, don't watch Boruto. Just watch another anime. That's
okay.
like Bleach. Watch Bleach. Or High.
Sabi ko nga kay ate, like, after Naruto, let's watch Yuri on Ice because
Yes,
gay.
it's good. Yes, Syria Night is great. Or like what? Or Free if you haven't watched Free.
Free. Yeah, I haven't
All
yet.
the muscles so that all of y'all can fangirl. It's research for a future episode of the show. And yes, we're gonna do a stabbing Caesar episode about Haikyuu, so get ready. But
Get ready, yeah.
later. I love Naruto.
What was it about Naruto though that got you so attached?
Hmm. The
Like as a kid?
fanfiction.
Fanfiction talaga ba?
Well, like during that time when I didn't watch when I didn't watch Naruto, there was a time I think it was a year of not watching Naruto content, but drowning myself in Naruto fanfiction. Fanfiction gave me a lot of deeper understanding. Yung ganun, the philosophies of it. I don't
Mm,
think I would be as well of a writer that I would actually take writing as a major if I didn't get into fanfiction.
mm,
Naruto wasn't written, it wasn't complete yet during that time. So I was waiting for more things, more episodes, that kind of thing. I've already caught up to the current one, and I didn't want to like wait. I wasn't that type of person. I was the one who binge watches, even if I
mm,
binge watch. So I turned my attention to fan fiction. And then fan fiction, there's a lot. It's like during that time, it was the most, in fanfiction.net, it had the most fan fiction written in the whole website. Had more fan fiction than Harry Potter during that time. That was how popular Naruto was to the to the nerds on the internets. And I just read so much fan fiction of a lot of things. Naruto always came back. Even now, I'm always looking for new things of Naruto, not Boruto. And it's still coming. People are still updating shit. People are still making new things, new fan fiction about Naruto. And because of that, I never felt like I left. There are a lot of fan fictions that had headcanons that was unified.
Mm.
Especially Naruto, everyone had a headcanon that like Toby wasn't stupid.
Okay.
Like that whole thing, that whole Madara was actually ganon, still alive, and that was all fan fiction. Like the canon never existed yet of Madara being alive. That was a head canon of every like a lot of people on fan fiction before that was canon.
Oh.
This is like when I started reading and watching again, I was like my mind was like I just mind blown. Oh my god, guys, we made something.
Like,
So
was that influenced by the fan
I
fiction
think
or
so.
the intentional?
Eh, Masashi Kishimoto-sama never addressed it, but I think so. It's like it's a that it was like what Obito literally is Toby. I was like Obito was like an old friend of Kakashi. I was like, oh my god, people wrote this shit without that being canon, and it became canon. Holy shit, that's so cool. No one wanted not Kakuzu, Kabuto to be alive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So no one thought about that. Resurrecting everyone. And that's so stupid. No one thought of that because no one liked Kabuto. Well, there are people who like Kabuto. People in fanfiction, in the beginning at least, weren't really good at writing from the villain's perspective, or they weren't good at writing evil perspectives well. They- it was shitty. Pero at least the effort was there. And now, like, the fan fiction writers then are probably like writers now. Except for like who was ashamed. I think it's because she's ashamed.
So nag-vetmed siya kasi she was
Yeah.
ashamed.
I think that's why. I feel like if you're not ashamed of being a fan fiction writer, you'll pursue writing as a career because you think fan fiction writing is still writing. Fan fiction writers research more than most authors do. They're way more credible in writing nowadays.
Parang most of them even take more thought
Yeah,
to
yeah.
more thought into the lore, is what I'm trying to
Mhm.
say.
So much planning, so
Parang,
much
oo,
research.
dapat lahat consistent, walang plot hole, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and like they just do it for free, diba? So like, oh my
Mm.
god. Fan fiction writers are like the backbones of every fandom ever. Because even if you didn't really read fan fiction as a fan, then are you
Mm.
a fan? Charot. Or
Oh
like,
my god, I'm sorry.
or if even if like ano, kunyari, you're not a reader of fan fiction, but you're a fan. The fan fiction attracts more fans. I know that that's definitely why I got into like other fandoms that I got in, like Inuyasha, I think. But I was
Inuyasha.
already a fan of Inuyasha, but not that deep. Or a lot of anime definitely.
Mm.
I think I got into Bleach fanfiction before I got into Bleach the anime or other things, a lot of things. So like fanfiction can keep you loyal,
Mm.
definitely more affectionate, more into the fandom. So like fanfiction is like a backbone. Fanfiction creates a lot of lore, even if it was a headcanon. You think it's a headcanon, but that's actually the canon. So like what the fuck?
On fan fiction naman sa akin. Kasi I'm not really a big fan fiction reader, di ba?
Why?
Parang,
How?
I,
You would
I
I think you'd be into it more.
I would, pero I recently, dahil lang sa'yo, what is it? I only found out about actual sites on where to get fan fiction because of you. Parang most of the time kasi I only read fan fiction through Tumblr. So kung ano man yung mga nasa Tumblr posts, yun lang yung nababasa ko.
Mm. Tapos
And
mahirap
if,
din maghanap sa Tumblr ng quality.
yeah, yeah,
If you don't follow them or follow the people that follows them, you won't be able to access that content.
parang just by chance lang yung mga nasa scroll past ko, tapos bihira pa yung may alam ako na fandom ba. Because most of the fan fiction that I've seen on Tumblr were about obscure fandoms that I didn't know of yet back then, like Merlin, ganyan. There were so much that I saw about Merlin.
Yeah.
That's why I'm still so hesitant to watch it today. Kasi like I know I'm gonna get hurt. I know I'm gonna get hurt so bad. So like I'm scared.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
One of the first fanfics I read was of Harry Potter. I thought it was, and this was accidental. An accidental reading. I thought it was Order of the Phoenix. I have,
Literally
I,
like my dad. That's literally what my dad did.
oh my god, oh my god. I downloaded all the PDFs kasi of Harry Potter kasi
Mm.
I didn't have physical copies back then.
Yeah.
I didn't have money to buy physical copies back then.
Mm.
So parang kung ano lang nahanap ko. Tapos parang this one said, Book 5, Harry Potter. So like, okay, this must be.
Ayun, I found one as well, printed out papers. It's not the whole thing. I think it's Order of the Phoenix as well, and I think that's what Dad thinks is the canon.
Mhm.
And my aunt. So like, what
Oh
the
my god.
fuck? I always come back to fan fiction. And
Mm.
like cyclical yung interest ko. I think that's a mental disorder. I don't know which one, but I read it up on somewhere. Like the tendency to like quickly change interests.
Mm.
And the interest is not just like when you,
Passing,
yeah,
passing hobby like that.
yeah.
It's
It's
like
more
a
like mania.
dedicated full on.
Yeah, it's mania.
It's like,
I cycle through from books to fan fiction to anime to movies to series to YouTube. YouTube is like a constant because I get everything from that. Like it's a lot. And even games, even gaming. I want the games and I want a better PC. I'm planning on like getting more RAM because my RAM 4 gig is shit now.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
it is.
it's the lowest level and it's hurting my soul and I want higher RAM. I'm because I RAM isn't that expensive. I want to aim for high. So like
The
I
best one.
yeah, I want like minimum 16 gig kasi I want to play good games. I
Mm.
don't want my PC crashing every time. I also want to buy a new screen because this whole laptop is separate is killing me. Like another screen would be great, especially if like I want to work while being distracted by YouTube or something.
You want multiple monitors, ganyan.
Yeah, cause my like I don't know, I can't survive now with just one
Yeah, yeah.
attention, like my attention just being on one. I feel like I'm scared
I'm
if that
scared.
happens to me. Like you know,
What if you ended your sentence there? I'm scared.
you know, like that anxiety. I don't know,
Mm.
but anxiety rises when I'm just reading a book without listening to music. That kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I don't know why, but I
Like
have
it's
to
not
be
productive enough, that kind of thing.
yeah, I have to be multitasking on everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
understand.
I think it is the level of productivity. I could be listening to music while drawing. Or actually no, if I'm drawing I have to be listening to podcasts.
Mm.
Because a podcast is much more productive than just listening to music. That kind of thing. That's literally I think that's executive disorder working its way. We're not doing like we're doing something but it's not productive enough. So we have to be more productive and do multiple things.
Like,
But
more power,
yeah,
maximum capacity.
yeah. Yesong also does this. Yesong from Super Junior. I
Mm.
watched it like from an interview they had in the past. And like the Super Junior members are like so confused. Why do you do that? You're reading a book, you're watching a video on the laptop screen, you're playing a game on your phone, you're listening to music on your speakers.
Uh,
Like, ganun. How do you do that? And he just does it. If whoever's listening, if you're a fan of Super Junior, you know that Yesong's fucked up in the head. And it's not anyone's it's not his fault. It's a lot of fault of like a lot of traditional Korean media people.
mm,
Tama daw.
yeah. Oh gosh.
But yeah, Yesung was given hard time, especially when at their peak, because he
Mm,
was the weird one. He was the weird one with the deep voice. It wasn't traditional Korean entertainment. He got scolded a lot, and that's why he got all the complexes. Actually,
mm.
Super Junior members all have complexes. They're all fucked up. Yeah. But we love them anyway.
Yeah.
I
Speaking
miss.
of though, speaking of K-pop,
Yes.
like,
What?
would you consider that as a fandom?
Of course. What the fuck? You're, people are gonna. let,
Ayaw nga naman there. Hindi kasi naalala ko dati, parang hindi pa fandom yung tawag to sa anong tawag dito? Sa K-pop fandoms, 'di ba? They're called fan clubs. So like
yes. Yes.
I forgot when they merged, but everyone who is a fan of something is now a part of a fandom.
Don't. Yeah. I was really into K-pop starting freshman year of high school, so that's like 2010, I think. 2009. 2010.
Mm.
I wasn't there for for the beginning of Super Junior's career. They wouldn't have reached Philippines anyway. They were like focused on Korea. But
Mm.
I wasn't there in the beginning for Super Junior, but I've been
Mm.
here ever since. And that was the quote that everyone was pushing, like the elves, the
Mm.
fandom. Everyone was pushing for that. Like it doesn't matter when you start loving them. All that matters is that you keep loving them until the end. Like we
Mm.
had a lot of quotes like that. Yeah, that was like, well, I'm still here, never left. The others, a lot of people left because they were like dragged in by EXO, and
Mm.
that started a lot of wars during EXO era. And like, bitch, so much hate. Seriously? And now they're being addressed as old people. Only we can address them as old people. How dare you? You're not even a fan. How dare you insult them when you're not a fan? Only the fans get the right to insult and bash them, don't you?
Actually, we know their shit. Yun eh. We know the fucked up things they do.
Yeah. How old do you think you're like Chris Evans is? How old do you think he is? 26? No, he's not. So what bullshit are you talking about? Old people being untalented. Fuck you.
Why, how old is Chris Evans? Isn't he just like in his 20 something?
No.
Talaga ba? Doesn't even know.
Jesus Christ.
I don't pay attention to ages of actors kasi.
And it
But
shouldn't. And they shouldn't. But I'm arguing for like old people who are in the
in the West.
in the industry, the whole industry of in the West. Jesus.
In the West.
Don't you dare, like, I don't have to argue for Meryl Streep. What are you talking about? she can,
She's doing fine.
yeah, she can handle it on her own. But like that's such a pandemic for word use. But that's
Trigger.
that's such a pandemic. Yeah, it's a pandemic for actors, specifically actors. Yeah, actors, idols, singers, not necessarily, because you can be old as a singer and you can still
Mm,
like rock it and all that jazz. But
yeah, yeah.
if you're an idol and you're old, your bones will start cracking
Yeah.
from all that dancing, and you're old. So like it's hard. Actors as well, unless you're able to shine as bright as Meryl Streep and get all the roles, or like there are specific roles for quote unquote old people,
Mm,
but mostly like people who get hired for those roles are like people who have a name already. So if you're late starting out, I think it's hard to maintain that. Even if you hit well in the first show, in the first movie or something, in the first series, if you're old, you don't have enough time to gain more, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's why I don't imagine myself living past 30.
Well, that took a weird turn.
I think I've said that before. But yeah, like it's hard to live.
It's hard to. That's the conclusion.
Yeah, it's hard to live. Are you still a fan of Star Wars? Yeah, you're still a fan of Star Wars.
Yeah, I haven't watched the latest one yet. Came out early this year because
There was
coronavirus.
there's so much
Pero yeah,
there's so much drama with Disney
yeah,
because homophobia and racism
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
That
kicking out
ikaw yung nagsabi sa akin ng Tina yan,
yes,
no?
yes. Seb. Seb Stan. I stand you, Stan. That's so. His name is so good. He's just so good. The first one, I forgot his name because I never was into Star Wars. So
What do you mean first one?
the first one that Disney fucked up. That should have had like the gay relationship, but they didn't let it happen. And then people complained like, why is the main character of Star Wars black? So
Ah,
they changed the focus of the script so that
si Rey yung ano.
Ray,
Mm-mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
that guy. Yeah.
they didn't want what's his name? Finn, the
Mhm.
stormtrooper.
Yeah. Like Stormtrooper
That's
would have been great. That would have been such a
diba? That's like come on.
yeah. And everyone would
Parang
have wanted to become a stormtrooper because stormtroopers are okay with gay people and black people being part of the plot and being necessary. Darth
parang
Vader, you're
the
so much
what
better.
what like a lot of I'm not how do you say this? I'm part of the fandom pero I'm not like a loyalist. I'm not like a Star Wars loyalist. Kasi there's a lot of things that I find very sloppy with oh my god, don't bash me. There's a lot of things
I
that I
won't
find very
be my
sloppy with how Star Wars produces or like writes its sequels,
because Disney took it.
more or
Guilty
less. Hindi
Disney.
kasi ang tawag dito, parang one of the age-old issues of Star Wars is bakit ang daling nasira nung Death Star dun sa episode 6 of the origin or episode 3 of the original series. I don't know how you want to call it. Bakit ang dali niyang, like, why is there just one hole on the exterior of the Death Star that connects straight through the core that if you shoot it, the whole ship, like the whole entire ship will blow up. That's like a major plot hole. A major plot hole that everyone has been obsessing over for years. Like maybe it's the architect's fault. Maybe it's an engineering fault. Because I guess to shut up all these fans, they made Rogue One,
Mm,
and it's so frustrating for me kasi they could have taken background characters from the previous
yeah.
episodes rather than just make new characters and then have
Mm.
all of those characters die off right before the movie ends. They're nothing. They're just devices to shut up the fans that kept poking at the plot hole. That frustrated me so much because like what kind of person treats their characters this way? Like you couldn't even at least have written one character into the next episodes. Para it's so upsetting for me that they made an entire movie just to cover up that plot hole. Parang sure, okay.
Money.
Huh?
Money.
Yeah.
Money.
Parang yeah. A lot of people did see Rogue One.
Yeah.
And
That's it.
ang ano pa naman din ng characters, they were lovable. Especially since Emilia Clarke.
Yeah, exactly.
Emilia Clarke! I love her
everyone,
so much!
everyone loves Emilia Clarke. But then they said no.
Their crew was relatively inclusive. They have a blind person on their crew,
Hmm.
female, a male, you know. Tapos they all just died, all dead, right before the movie ended. Like no one even existed. You didn't even have to have that movie. They could have just referenced that. Parang they could have just made a discovery in the newer episodes na as a flashback or like as a so it was because it was the architect was part of the rebellion. That's why there was a big gas flaw in the construction of the Death Star. They didn't have to make it into a whole movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they, like capitalism, whatever, whatever. So disgusting. I don't know. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it does.
I don't know. Whatever. I'm not a fan, so I won't
Star
say
Wars.
anything. I don't know. I don't know the fandom. Like,
Yeah.
aside from The Mandalorian, I have no intention of getting to know the fandom more. And I only want to watch The Mandalorian because of the Baby Yoda.
Maybe you would.
And how
I
like
haven't even seen that yet.
and
I
how
haven't seen The Mandalorian yet.
the Mandalorian acts around Baby Yoda because like me I'll always
Why?
protect
How does he
Baby
act?
Yoda. Like how he reacted in the first times, like he didn't want the baby. So like they basically a protective used to be tsundere, but then he just became like a protective a protective person. I was like, maybe Yoda's protecting him as well. I was like, oh my god, yes. I don't know. I just like watching people who wouldn't have you wouldn't normally have kids
Mm.
being forced to interact with kids because like they become marshmallows. like Eugene Liang when
Yeah,
interacting with
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, oh my god. I
They didn't have a moment that he would murder anyone that hurt his baby.
I was like, oh my god, yes, hello Wes. I don't know. I feel like it's just my hormones making me like babies. I don't know. Like I was like earlier. I started watching. I fell into that Korean variety show or
Return of
reality
Superman.
show. Yeah, basically, I didn't watch the triplets again. I actually started watching Sian or Debaka. I
Mm.
was like, oh my god, I miss this boy. He's
Yeah.
like, I saw, I saw. I was like, oh my god. And even when his dad was messing with him, you're adorable. Oh my god.
So adorable. Like, I've been watching clips of Jam Jam and How din kasi.
Mhm.
Tapos parang nakikita ko rin yung mga clips ni Debak. Like, he's grown up so much na
Yeah,
to
he's
the
a
point
kid.
that they've started plotting against their dad, silang tatlo.
Yeah.
Like revenge for all of those times. Like he still remembers when their dad buried him in the sand and left him there.
Kids
That was the
remember.
most painful.
Ano sinama ng dad niya lahat ng kapatid niya eh. Like he was to be
Yeah.
left alone. It's like, oh my god, same. Same, diba ka? The horrors. Trauma. Like he gets so angry with himself when he falls for the tricks now. I was like, especially
Pero parang I feel like nag-smoothen out naman na yung relationship nila ni Lee Dong-gook. Like they make up easily na. It's not
Mm.
as resentful or something.
Where he doesn't talk, di ba?
Yeah,
Silent
tapos
treatment.
he has to like treat him to something before Devak talks to him again.
Yeah. I feel like that's how, like, people criticize Dongbuk a lot for that. But,
Oh really?
yeah, cause like, what the fuck are you doing? You're making traumas for
He
yourself.
doesn't like kasi.
Tapos, but at the same time, it helps. It would help in the future in a way. It's a it's not a necessary thing to do with a kid or with your kid, but at least your kid would know that no matter how much tricks you'd experience that's against you coming from
Mm.
your dad would always like make up with you. Like if he feels that you're angry with him, he would make up with you. He's willing to go that route, 'di ba?
Mm.
And like most dads would like if you upset them, even if you're upset with them, you're the one who has to.
Ah yeah, actually.
So like what the fuck? Yeah, I feel like
Ah, dads.
but let's not open that kind of worms.
We're here to talk about fandoms.
Yeah.
That's another one of our fandoms, Return of Superman.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if we don't have an official fandom name or whatever. We're just like, we love the babies.
Yes, we love the babies. We are the
We
Lois
love the
Lanes. We are the Lois Lanes of everyone.
babies.
Or I don't know. Whoever loved the child of Lois Lane and Clark Kent in canon. We are
Yeah.
that one. Because we love
That person, whoever they are.
Yeah. I wanted to get into it to Marvel. I
Mm,
wanted to. There was an attempt from me, but at the same time, I know myself that if I ever was to become like a mania in a fandom,
mhm.
like I have to buy the things.
And like the comics and the.
Yeah, and I wouldn't like I'd never be able to live with myself if I was going to declare myself as a fan and I never even had a comic.
Mm.
Like
Would you settle for like an e-copy though,
I
or do you want the
like I'd
physical
read
one?
it I'd read it, yeah, but like I would feel so much like I'm not a fan. I don't have a real comic. That's the
Mm,
thing. Even like especially since it's hard like people collect that shit. Like
mm,
real people with like they actually are like fans of it collect shit. So like I don't want like the whole bidding thing. Not for me. Like I don't I don't want that. So like yeah, I'll just deal with like anime superheroes then. Because even then like it's I don't know. There's something about Japanese anime like even if you watch the anime, there's people shame like there are people who shame people who of just watching the anime, diba?
mm.
But I'm like at least I get the anime. It's not like Marvel. I don't know. I don't know. Kasi Marvel is Marvel eh. It's one. It's one thing. But anime is a genre.
Yeah, yeah.
So I have a lot. I can pick. Tapos what if like I because of my love for side characters, I find someone from Marvel, the Marvel world, or DC that I absolutely love. That's a side character. And like they don't do it well. Or I don't agree with the movie that they eventually make. I'm just
Mm,
gonna hate it. So like, yeah, let's not get into that.
yeah.
Tapos, ano, ayun. Though I really, 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 really adore Henry Cavill's portrayal as Clark Kent.
Damn, he think.
I'm gonna bring it. I told you.
Eventually, like in the future, in one of our future episodes,
Yes,
we'll have a
yes.
soundboard. Every time you mention him, damn, we think.
It was like more of I don't know. But I did tell you that I'm gonna bring him up every episode. Because we need to talk. Henry Cavill's name is still not that famous. I want him to be as famous as Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Like he already made a movie with Tom Cruise, all right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Be
He's
yes.
close enough. He's close enough. He's almost there.
Yes, he already does his own stunts. Yes, but he's way swole, way more swole than Tom
Swole.
Cruise ever became.
Swole is the word. Yes.
Yes, so swole. I love him so much. I miss the perv stash though. I love the perv stash.
Oh no.
But have you watched that? I think I
No.
was supposed to watch it with you here in our house,
Mm.
but the website didn't let me watch it. So like Mission Impossible, whatever that one was, I forgot the most recent one.
Yeah, yeah.
Watch.
The one where they went to Running Man.
Yes, yes, with Simon. I love I love them. I wasn't like I'm sad that
Mm,
I wasn't into him from the very beginning.
mm.
But as is the philosophy of elves, it's okay if you weren't there from the very beginning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're there for the very end, and I stand by that promise. Until the last episode of the show, I'm always gonna bring up Henry Cavill every episode. I'm already like, I'm getting goosebumps just imagining it. Like, that's how invested I am in this man. Graham Norton is to thank for my eternal devotion to Henry Cavill. Because I decided to watch him, and then through him I saw Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill, but mostly Tom Cruise in the beginning. And then because of him, I watched all the Mission Impossible movies, and then because of him, Henry Cavill made it into my vocabulary. How?
Makeup though.
Yes.
Like, is that considered a fandom then, or not really? If you subscribe to a booty guru, a booty guru.
It's the beauty community. It's not a fandom.
Mm,
Everyone tears each other
it's a
down.
community. Okay.
Everyone tears each other down.
Oh God.
That's how a community work. It's not a fandom. Because everyone can make mistakes. And anyone can be dragged down to hell.
Oh God.
I,
Like, hmm.
yes.
I feel like this is why I stay away from that part of YouTube. I get to, like, once I get emotionally invested in someone, kasi I get stressed when they get shit.
Yeah, you're too soft for that.
Yeah.
I think you're just too soft for the whole YouTube actually.
All I can handle is crack
Yeah.
and Korean babies.
Yeah, because no one hates on Korean babies. No, actually, there are people who hate
Yeah.
Korean babies.
And there are. But I try not to read the comment section too much. Like, I try not to
Eh?
scroll through too far down when it comes to the Korean babies. I just go up until the like, ah, so cute. Those comments.
Yeah, I tend to scroll a lot. The comments, I've been here for years. Come on.
Mm.
I know these people.
What else fandoms though did you enjoy? Or fandoms that you want to get into but haven't yet?
Ooh. Hmm. Hmm. What do you call that? Historical drama. Downton Abbey, definitely. Downton Abbey. All,
Yeah, ako rin. Oh my God.
Downton Abbey, full stop. All the Merlin Street movies, full stop. It's easy to get into anime, so I won't.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Downton Abbey is one. Parang before quarantine, I started watching, what's it called? The Queen of England ba yun or something? Basta Matt Smith is in it. Tapos it's about,
Yeah, yeah.
ano, Queen, the Queen of
I
England.
think
And how she became the Queen. Like the current Queen of England and how, like the history and all that.
basically we're talking about historical historical
Mm.
Western drama. Historical drama from HBO.
The Crown is
Ah,
what
The
it's
Crown
called.
is good. The Crown is so good.
Parang I've watched until episode 5, I think, pero hindi ko pa siya tapos. And I've only watched until half of episode 3.
Lying.
Lying. I'm sorry. I thought I got farther than
I wish I had
Ayun.
Netflix because then it would be easier, I think. I don't know. I like British shows because it's so
Mm.
good. It's also good. Maybe not all of it, but most of it. Because they cancel the shitty ones. They're not apologetic. Hindi sila matipid sa pag-cancel, especially when the show isn't
Mm.
good, isn't getting the ratings it should.
They don't try to hold out or something.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it is an efficient way to
Or
produce new content.
maybe because I'm just an Anglophile. Yes, even with Brexit, though I prefer if you're just open with everyone, Britain. How can you imagine your life without a fandom, without being
Without the
part of a fandom?
fandoms I have.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, for me, like, it's hard kasi a lot of my ideals and principles based based on the fandoms I've learned it from.
Hmm.
Like, for example, Harry Potter such a big influence was such a big influence to me growing up na I've more or less modeled myself ar- around what a Hufflepuff should be, because yeah, I strongly identified with being a Hufflepuff early a bit early on.
Hmm.
Na until now I try to be like the ideal Hufflepuff. Like, at least I try. The same goes with Doctor Who, because Doctor Who is all about hope and like treating everyone equally, like no matter what planet or what species or how small they are,
Yeah.
like there's still that's still life, and who are you to dictate what should or should not be, diba?
Yeah.
Parang those kinds of things. I've learned a lot of those kinds of things from fandoms.
Hmm.
So it's kind of hard to imagine myself without fandoms.
There are people. Do we? I don't think we know people necessarily personally. Who,
Mm,
actually, I do know somebody who isn't.
have a fandom.
Yeah, even like they don't really listen to music. They don't
Oh, damn.
really watch things. All they do is study. And I'm like,
I know someone like that too, pero meron siyang like doesn't really listen to music, doesn't really watch movies and series.
mm-hmm.
Pero they had one thing which is anime. So that's still a fandom. Parang hindi lang siya sarado lang siya, pero you know.
Mm-hmm. I think, yeah, I think I know somebody who's like,
What are they like?
I, d- which author was it that spoke about how reading lets a person experience multiple worlds, unlike
Mm,
just one. A person who doesn't read, who just
lives
experienced
only
one.
just one. I think this
Yeah.
is this is George R. R. Martin.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so too. And you can tell the worldliness of people who are interested in a lot, whether it's books or anime or movies or things. The problem solving, the interacting with people. Well, maybe not interacting. Some are fucked up with that because, but the problem solving, the way they view the world. It's
Mm,
people who are part of fandoms have varying degrees of being philosophical or being able to be philosophical in a way, or
yeah,
being
yeah.
able to argue or discuss things that is beyond the box.
Push the limits of
Yeah,
what
yeah,
can or cannot be
yeah. I guess it's a peaceful existence, but it's sad to think that what would they have been like if they were given
in
a
fandoms.
chance
Yeah.
or given a chance to be more interested in things? Or I think that's a lot of Asian grown individuals.
Asian grown. I understand. I understand.
It's like the whole, kahit dati, like it's not as strict with my family, but the whole, you're going into arts? What's
Mm-mm.
this drawing, ganun. Like, my family supported me in the, like, childhood, ganun, drawing. It's good, yeah, they'll keep the drawing. We didn't really have enough ref space to draw it. Like, to magnet it there. Or we didn't actually have magnets to use as a, something to stick. Pero, like, saving it, ganun.
Mm.
Pero, like, as a career,
Yeah, yeah.
Asian people with art, something creative as a career, ha! Ha!
Walang pera dyan, that kind of
Oo.
sentiment.
And the reason why walang pera dyan is because you treat it like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jesus Christ. Do you know how much money they spend on every movie, on every TV series? When they could have just been giving that to the actual people. But then they have to please your ununderstanding ass.
My experience naman with people who have no fandoms, I feel like they're more the person this person kasi like I tend to wonder about things, a lot of things kasi, like what about if this happened, or like if something blah blah blah, like just the what ifs, thinking like even though even if it doesn't affect anything, you just like thinking about it because like what if, diba? Pero this person's remark was like, bakit mo pa kailangang pag-isipan yan? Like
Gago.
it's not gonna change the plot, or it's not gonna
Uh,
affect the what is canon. Like why are you
yeah.
bothering thinking about it?
I feel like those people, yeah, they're like yeah, they have that vibe like ito lang yung
Mm-mm.
and it's like that's so sad. Your existence is so sad. You
It's
may
so
not get
dependent on
depression.
the thing that already exists.
Yeah. You may not get depression or anxiety or other mental disorders.
Mm.
So sad. Like you can't even you can't even understand the idea of trying to think of the what if. Like what the fuck?
As in talaga, like, sobrang against siya dun sa fact na I was trying to think of hypothetical situations, or maybe even try to analyze what this character might have been thinking or might have been feeling at this time, or something like that. Like, why are you bothering? You won't know the true answer either way. Parang they're so focused on that, the true answer. Uh, uh, you can't even imagine just for a little bit, just because it's fun.
They like it's like they just gave up. So
Mm.
like take it as what it is. And that's so boring of a life. There's no curiosity, there's no ingenuity, there's no interest.
To be fair, I don't think fandoms are the only things that
Can't
create this in children, pero
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
in people. Pero they do, what they call this, foster. They
Actively.
do foster it, and encourage it a lot, diba? So like,
But yeah, people who grew up in fandoms may not be good people in the end.
mm,
They are definitely world what do you call that? They definitely
that's one of the, suddenly Hermione pops to mind. It's one of the things I didn't like about Hermione.
hmm.
Na she didn't wasn't really interested in the things she was studying. She just wanted to get good grades, that kind of thing,
I
which is
I
kind of.
beg to differ because like Hermione turned to books because people didn't like her.
Actually, sa
And
bagay.
she's definitely interested in the things she's learning. She's a muggle born.
Mm.
She'd fight for the grades, definitely fight for the grades. But she's definitely interested in it. Like look how she treated divination. She was willing to try it out because she wanted to learn what it was. But then testing it out, she realized, yeah, this is bullshit. This is not for me. So she left and she didn't care whether it had like a drop on her class records. She wasn't stressed about that. She was stressed about wasting time stressing herself on something that she doesn't believe in, she doesn't like. So I think she was definitely interested in the classes she was taking.
Mm.
Yeah. Know-it-all lang siya. That's why she rubbed off on you. And like,
Okay. Gets.
that's why you didn't like. Just like that person. Okay. Who was the opposite of Hermione and definitely was into all that shit. So yeah. And like, oh my god. But I don't think people should ostracize the people who don't have fandoms, who aren't part of fandoms, who aren't aware of fandoms, who aren't interested in it, or at least not
Mm.
yet. Because like, don't be selfish about it. Like, why do you have to be selfish about it? Um, Judge them on that split second and then invite them. You should watch. It's more of like the judge incredulity of like, why haven't you watched it yet? I feel like that's a lot of what I said to you. And I think that should immediately be followed up with you should definitely watch it because like that's the only way it should be followed up with. Like
Mm.
let's watch together. Like bitch, watch it. Ganon. Because if people are being selfish about their fandoms, then that's stupid.
Yeah. Fandoms are great. You should share them. That was our
Invite
first time.
no. Invite people to fandoms. Treat them to movies. Let movies be a thing again. Cinemas, please. Or like show them your Harry Potter t-shirt, Harry Potter collection. Let them be something more than their boring selves. And let them join the fandom. And if they don't like it, don't harass them. Don't act like everything you do is great. And don't act
Yeah.
like your idols are gods. Because the only gods here is GOD. And that's a Korean group that all of you should listen to, even if they're like very old. Respect your sunbays, okay? Night. Good night.
And that is the end of this episode. Thank you all so much for listening. Stabbing Caesar is a bi monthly podcast hosted by me, the Red Sea and Himawari. Bi monthly, I say now because, well, we made a mistake on the end credits last session. Sorry about that. And in this podcast, we talk about whatever we want, whether it's fandoms, internet drama, or whatever Henry Cavill's doing at the moment. On the next episode of Stabbing Caesar, we talk about our current obsessions. How's life living as a fan of various artists in a time of quarantine and revolution? Why does Red have beef with pet owners? How does Himawari sing words she doesn't understand? And finally, did the Red Sea bring up Henry Cavill again? Find out more on the next episode, and remember, gamers, drink some water.
How do we end shows?
Oh, the ending the ending statement. Where your Henry Cavill.
Where you're Henry Cavill? Where are you, Henry Cavill?
Henry Cavill.
Hey, Henry Cavill.
And as always, where are you, Henry Cavill?
Yun na lang talaga.
I
Where
don't
are
know. I am down if you are down.
okay.